Alright guys, how's it going? Intel just launched their latest CPU series, and given it's been a slow news week, I decided to do something a little bit different for this video. So this is a channel update where I get some stuff off my chest, while hopefully giving some insights into what it's like trying to operate a medium-sized YouTube tech channel. I'll start this by looking at what is financially, and in terms of critical reception I would say, my most successful video on the channel to date. So here you can see my most popular videos, and at number 1 is the Intel anti-competitive, anti-consumer one, which at the weekend finally hit 200,000 views, 1 year and 3 months after launching. The implications of this I'll discuss later. However, I was talking about my most successful video financially and critically, and this one isn't it. In fact, that video isn't even in the top 5 yet, but it soon will be. It's this video here, and here, that I launched a month ago, Beyond Turing, Ray Tracing and the Future of Computer Graphics. And as you can see here, the view count is way ahead of my average views by a factor of maybe 3 or 4. And if I now look at the analytics, top 10 videos since my channel started and sort by revenue, and there we go, right at the top. So this estimated revenue here, all my ad revenue, $370 for one video, that's pretty good, you might think, and I'd agree, if I were releasing a video every other day and they were all this successful. But this video was the result of months of discussions, followed by weeks of research, then days of recording, re-recording and editing. And I had no idea if I would get 150,000 or 50,000 views. So this $370 could easily have been $170. And in fact, based on my average, it's a lot more likely to be. So what I did know was that had I not been paid to make it, I'd never have made this video, simply due to the vast amounts of research that went into it. But obviously, as soon as that sponsored word is uttered, everything is viewed from a wholly different perspective. I get it. People are concerned that what they're watching is just shilling for a company's product and I'm being paid to make them look good, or something along those lines. Here was one comment pointing out that this is an advertisement research video, that I was paid to speak about this technology, so I'm obviously biased, and that it would be wise to do some independent research on the company Otoy. I certainly agree with the last part of that. It's always wise to do your own independent research on anything. But you can see my response. Otoy never asked for a single thing in this video. They gave me a clean slate to do what I wanted, and that is the only way I'd ever have agreed to it. Probably more interesting though was when I said, believe it or not, I actually asked them what they were getting out of it, and it was only at that point did they suggest I could mention Octane Renderer, if it made sense in the video. But let me give you the rundown on this. I was contacted over a year ago by a company who seemed very keen to work with me, citing reasons such as these. I understand both the hardware and financial side of the industry. I've got a knack for unravelling the big picture. I know lithography and the foundry business and understand the need to scale beyond Moore's law. And I put honesty and substance over flashy presentation. Looking at all this, and it's clear enough that these guys are at least watching some of my videos, right? And as it turned out, I had actually been monitoring their project, having been made aware of it a few weeks earlier. At this time last year though, I was going through a bit of a rough patch. I don't sleep well at all, and I think I was suffering from exhaustion, in fact. I even made this post on Patreon when I'd gone nearly 3 weeks without being able to get a video done, almost a year ago today. So I told them that right now I will not be taking anything else on board, whether hardware or otherwise, and looking at this last sentence here, I think I was about ready to just throw in the towel. Obviously, I shook myself out of it and just got back to business as usual. The company continued to contact me, and over the following months, it became clear that they really wanted to work with me on this video, and we finally started talking seriously a few months ago, and I had a few Skype chats with a couple of guys in their team. I took some notes and recordings for my own reference. I was actually surprised by how little they wanted, so I asked them if there was anything I could do to sort of give them something back. On multiple occasions, they told me to do as I see fit, and ultimately, it's your video, do as you see fit. And in fact, looking over my notes now, I now see that they didn't actually ask me to plug Octane at all. They simply noted that if I would be showing denoising in the video, I could use that 1 frame per second video that you see here to show the advancement of the technology. From the very start, it was always about me giving my honest take. Here's the final part of the intro email they sent. They didn't want a sponsored video promoting their product. They wanted my honest take. And they continued to emphasise that over our discussions. And that's what you got with Beyond Turing, my honest take. What Otoy got out of it was a video that can be used to educate people on the technology in general. Instead of doing an in-house corporate educational video, they decided to try working with somebody who is passionate about technology, future technology in particular, and who is also experienced in the field. I provided them with what they needed most, which was clearly and effectively explaining their technology. Due to the success of the video, it's likely that they will want to work with me again. However, regarding future video, absolutely nothing has been signed or agreed upon. So hopefully that clarifies it and also lets you know my feelings on the subject. Barely a week passed and I was back, shilling again, with MSI's RTX 2080 Gaming X Trio on review. I was a bit surprised when MSI contacted me to ask if I was interested in reviewing their card. MSI had a new PR person take over for my region a few months ago, and in an introduction email, she asked what my plans were. So I responded pointing out the previous collaborations I've done with MSI, and what I'm most interested in doing, which basically came down to big releases. Note what I've written at the bottom here as well. I make it crystal clear to any potential sponsor that I have rules to follow, and that my Patreon backers come first. But anyway, I got back saying, sure, I'll take a look at their RTX 2080, also saying in a follow-up email that I'd be interested in taking a look at the 9900K as well. I also asked if they could loan me some other Nvidia cards for the review, but they couldn't because they didn't have any lying around the office. That meant it would be the RTX versus the competing Vega Liquid. Not exactly what people want to see really. As luck would have it though, I got a very good offer on a couple of 1080 Ti's from a miner and a fan of the channel. I took up the offer because I really wanted something fast to test against the 2080. I do still game a little, but World of Warcraft is 95% of it. I don't need two 1080 Ti's for that, but they were very cheap and I'd have been silly not to. So the weekend came and went benchmarking. In fact, it was more like 4 entire days benchmarking, and during it I became completely sick of the whole thing. Here's the thing, I'm doing these reviews knowing that most of you simply don't care. You want my analysis, my history, my future videos, not reviews. Reviews also get poor views compared to other videos, not just for me, but for everybody. And reviews sadly bring the fanboys out in droves, and claims of bias and selling out are never far away. At the end of the laborious benchmarking and the beginning of the next week, I started compiling the results. Then I took a look at the charts and formed my opinion based on those results and my experience with the cards. And at the end of my review, I concluded that I'd rather have MSI's 2080 Gaming X Trio instead of the EVGA 1080 Ti for the Win 3. Those were my words. It has better performance per watt, it's quieter, it has RTX, DLSS, etc. Why wouldn't I rather have the 2080? Yet to some, I had clearly sold out. So sad. I loved your vids, but this smells of a sellout. Enjoy your card. Not sure I can watch your videos anymore. The RTX series isn't worth the price tag based on performance, which is fine. Yeah, but if you get a free card and a kickback it is. Jim. And we can see here that my patience had run out by this stage. This review seems a bit of a sellout. How could you recommend a 2080 now when you can get a 1080 Ti so much cheaper? I didn't actually recommend the 2080. I said anyone buying a 2080 should strongly consider the Gaming X Trio, and that I'd rather have, not buy, this 2080 over my 1080 Ti for the Win 3. And I gave a bunch of reasons why. And as far as cheaper 1080 Ti's go, true. But that is the same with every new release since the dawn of time. You pay more for new stuff. But really, who am I supposed to be selling out to? Because MSI get the card back. I simply review it and that is it. I have nothing to gain either way. I simply tell it like I see it as always. See, here's the thing. You've got no reason to believe anything that I've said. Maybe I am actually sitting here on a PC with MSI RTX 2080 Gaming X Trio right now. Just fire up Afterburner. into settings, and we can see, no, indeed, I do actually have two GeForce GTX 1080 Ti's. But let me go back to the emails and give you the whole story. You remember MSI's rep and I had the discussion. She got back to me a few days later asking when the video would be released. This is all part of the PR game that these companies play. With me at least. They know that I take my time with this stuff, trying to get the best video I can. But that may not always be what they want. Think about it from their perspective. What they really want is exposure, quickly after release in particular. They want to give out cards to the big guys with millions of followers, then the medium-sized guys with a few 100,000 or even a few tens of thousands like me. Then they want to get those cards back after the review and give them to smaller guys as soon as possible. The more reviews they get, the more exposure they get. And here's an interesting point, by the way. They don't really care if we give negative reviews, so long as we don't completely slam their product. Guys like Linus, Jay, even some of the bigger medium-sized guys, they undoubtedly get to keep the cards. But anything I've had to review from MSI that wasn't disclosed as payment, which in my case was a B350 motherboard and an RX 580 graphics card that I got to keep as part of the Build a PC Like a Pro video. Everything else from MSI has all gone back to them. In fact, let me tell you an amusing true story. Back when AMD were handing out first generation Ryzen chips to the press, they gave out the 1800X, 1700X and 1700s. What the hell do I need with all of those CPUs? So I told my AMD PR guy that I had a spare R7 1700 just lying around in its box if anyone wanted it. And he actually ended up asking me to send it to MSI, who needed one for BIOS testing or something of that ilk. So rather than MSI sending me free stuff to keep, I'm actually sending them stuff to keep. But getting back to the point, after MSI's rep contacted me trying to give me the hurry up, I immediately got back to her telling her I had only just started benching it in fact, but I did figure I could get it done by Friday if I was pushed. So I asked her if she wanted to organise a pickup for the card on Monday or if she really needed it back at a push this Friday. See, I'm saying, when do you want your card back? I didn't even give them the chance to say I could keep it. I didn't hear anything back though. So on Wednesday, I uploaded the video later in the evening, then emailed her to say the video was up. Note what else I said. The time and effort put into these reviews, this was nearly a week's solid work benchmarking and editing video, is now just too much and nowhere near worth it to me financially, so I'll skip the Coffee Lake 9900K review. So there you have it. I had zero intention of keeping the card. In fact, I instigated MSI taking it back off me. And you can see it's arrived at their office in the Netherlands. I literally got to keep it for the review and then it was sent back. That is how it is for the vast majority of us. The MSI RTX 2080 didn't get a positive review because I got to keep the card. And as you see, it also didn't get a positive review in the hope that they'd give me more hardware to test because I told them the minute the review went live that I was basically done with reviews anyway. But maybe I'm getting kickbacks instead. A stash of $50 bills in a brown envelope? To finish this part of the video, I'll let you see what kind of offers I get on a near daily basis. So let's take a look at my collaboration offers folder in Thunderbird. Okay, so at the top, SCD Key. Oh yeah, these guys email me a lot. As you can see, I got back to them once saying no thanks, but I'll consider it in future. You've probably seen these guys on videos at Paul's Hardware, Tech Deals. I think they sponsor Joker and Elric at Tech of Tomorrow's channels as well. All these guys are bigger than me in subs at least. Maybe I will consider channel sponsorship or something else, but a full sponsored video? It's not right for me, I feel. Kingston got in touch with me recently. They wanted a video on their A1000 SSD. And I would get to keep it. I got back saying, no thanks, but I would be interested in working with them in future. This one here was MSI again. They wanted me to do 2 PC builds, and I would get to keep the PCs. You know why I turned this one down? I didn't really like that it was a GTX 1060 gaming card, and I felt like it would be obsolete soon due to Turing. Stuff like this matters to me. If I'm going to be promoting a PC build, then I would like it to be one I would feel comfortable promoting. Something that's going obsolete soon? Not so keen on that. This one, another Chinese company who wanted a sponsored Windows 10 key video. Netgear router, I'd get to keep the router, but I said no thank you. Here's another one, Zixel Armor Z2. What's this? Paid promotion. Urging, paid partnership proposal. BenQ got in contact with me. GearBest, they were in contact with me quite a lot at one point. Budget up to $5,000 for a MOBA game review. And most recently I had a UK monitor company who wanted to sponsor the channel with 3 monitors. What the hell do I need with another 3 monitors, I thought. But probably the biggest one recently that I turned down was this one. So here's a pretty large company who sponsor other very large YouTubers, reaching out to explore the possibility of sponsoring a few of my videos. And they would have paid me at least $320 per video, which would pretty much have been every video I upload. That was at entry level, and I'm quite certain that had I asked for $400 or maybe even $500 per video, I'd have got it. As it was, I didn't like this 30 to 40 second advert at the start. Here's the thing, right? You maybe just sat through 30 seconds of advert as soon as you clicked. Now another 30 to 40 seconds? I'd maybe feel comfortable with 10 to 20 seconds at the start of each video, but this felt too long. And also, as I told MSI as well, I need to consider my patrons over at Patreon. My first Patreon goal was to remove those little annoying click box ads that you see in videos. Did you ever notice that I don't have them? I never have. Or at least, as far as most of you watching me today are concerned, I never had those. And it's because of this, my first Patreon goal. If I am now going to stick a bunch of 40-second ads at the start of my videos, that just seems a little bit off. So for me it was simple. I told this company that I would remove the Google AdSense ads at the start if they were willing to pay me enough to cover my monthly losses of the removal on top of this $320. They weren't though, and that was that. So no, there's no hidden kickbacks, there's no keeping products to shill for positive reviews. In fact, I am actively turning down sponsorship offers that would basically double my channel income or more, simply because I have certain standards that I would like to keep. And most importantly, money is not and never will be my god. That's not to say I won't take it, but it has to be right, and I'm not so desperate that I would do anything for it. If you ever wonder why I sometimes get pissed off at some people's stupidity, then hopefully this goes some way to explaining why. I hit another milestone at the same time the Intel video reached 200,000 views. The channel hit 70,000, thanks mostly to this ray tracing video in fact, which brought in a couple of thousand new subs fairly fast, or at least compared to the relative stagnation of my previous year. Now let's take a look at it, and we can see 70,000 subscribers, gained 83, lost 13, that seems like a rather large percentage. But looking at this we can see how it's all gone. 2015 from 4,000 subscribers, and a massive jump up to 30,000 over the course of that 1 year. But see, from this point onward, most other channels will go that way. Mine is going this way. And this is not good, because 22,000 in 2017, 12,000 so far in 2018. This is going to be less than 22,000, and the increase in my subscriber count is sadly falling, and it will continue to fall. I know that many of you are quite bemused by my relatively low subscriber count, because I read the comments, and I know what it is. First of all, we are a niche. Yes, the PC is quite a large niche, gaming too, but the stuff I cover is definitely a bit more, call it highbrow, than the average. Now check this out. This is the script of my last video on how Nvidia won and AMD lost the GPU war. I only just started writing scripts actually. Up until last month, I never wrote a single script. But now I've found that it makes it easier to get the recording done in a shorter time frame, because I can write scripts while I'm up all night and everybody else is in bed. Now, when I run that script through Word Counter, and even though this video was a good bit longer than most, 6,000 words is a lot. Also note the reading level of college student. This is an instant limiter on big subscriber and view numbers, so really, my channel is a niche of a niche. Another issue is that YouTube's algorithm rewards frequent, that is daily, posting of videos of around about 10 minutes in length. The research and planning that goes into any one of my videos, I mean, how long do you think this stuff takes? And then there's a recording and editing on top of all this. I will never be able to release a video per day. I can't even do 2 per week because of the nature of the content. It's just not possible, and it never will be. I don't have any problem with my videos being highly rated in YouTube search, but they're not going viral. 200,000 views for that Intel video. I mean, okay, it's long, but clearly something that you'd think many people would be interested in, not even just tech people. But this isn't the only one by far. Look at my history of GeForce videos, 67,000 views, and here's the other one at 50,000. This, by the way, is in a blank browser, the first time I have ever checked. So even though my video is top of the YouTube search, look at the difference in views in the videos below it. 6 months ago, 814,000 views. 11 months ago, 2.7 million views. I mean, here's one that's basically a copy of my thumbnail. 614,000 views 5 months ago. Basically the same thing, but without any analysis or context. Millions, hundreds of thousands of views. How is this possible? Well, it's simple. I have a serious problem that is holding my videos back, and sadly, it will always be the case. My videos won't go viral. In some cases, they almost do. That's what happened with my path tracing video. It went semi-viral. It's actually happened with other videos as well. This one here, it's been a bad week at Intel. This one grew very quickly and went sort of semi-viral. The GameWorks one as well. But even these numbers are tiny compared to, I mean, look around at much smaller YouTubers. Many of them have at least one video that is massively ahead of this view count. All these videos though, the GameWorks one, this Intel one, and this path tracing one, as I said, they created an influx of subscribers and an influx of new viewers. And do you know what's happened every single time that there's been an influx of new viewers? There's an influx of people who absolutely hate my accent. Some of them can be pretty humorous, like this one. Great presentation, an English version would be highly helpful. Now I kind of appreciate humour like that. I can't understand anything you say. Definitely a good video, but I couldn't listen till the end as your dialect is so exhausting to me as a non-native speaker. Quite a few of them don't put it quite so nicely, like this one, and welcome to Limmy's show.
You ken, it's a bit like locking the stable door after a horse has bolted, like, eh?
That accent, my god, hire someone that speaks English. Might be an interesting channel, if I could only understand what he's saying. Wow, that's one brutal accent. Somebody else has got a nice way of putting it. I dig your accent, but would you mind making a sub for this one? It's a really interesting video, but sometimes I can't make out what you're saying. Your reach would be much wider if you handled your accent. As anyone who has been watching me from the Elite Dangerous days knows, I actually am handling my accent. Feel free to check out one of those early Elite videos and you'll see what I mean. His accent makes my ears bleed. Last time I heard such strong accent was from some kind of Irish sheep herding documentary. The material in the video is great, but the accent is too thick and unpleasant to listen to. Couldn't bear more than 15 minutes of it. I mean, that's pretty bad, right? And all this happens every time one of my videos gets popular. Every time. But now look at this. Your videos are informative and entertaining, and your accent is the cherry on top. I'm only here for the awesome accent. I love that beautiful Scottish accent. Followed by, I hate the accent, but like the raw information coming out of its mouth. And this guy saying my accent's strange, even for Scottish. It's because I'm on YouTube and I live in Sweden. My accent is already heavily sanitised. I'm only watching because of his accent. How can such informative and analytical videos be so entertaining to listen to at the same time? It's definitely the accent. Yup, the accent definitely plays a part. Your voice and accent are enjoyable to the ears. And this goes on and on and on. A badass with a sexy accent. Love your reviews and the accent. Horrible accent. Atrocious Scots accent. I love that accent of yours. I see stuff like this an odd time as well. What's even more amazing is that over the course of this video, my brain managed to adapt to your Scottish accent, and now you sound just like a normal English speaker to me. Explain that one, science. Well, I might just make that video one day. But then of course there's the asshats who say stuff like, I need a speech therapist, 2006. Not the best idea to have someone with a speech impediment narrate a 25-minute video. Followed up with, you should consider finding a spot in audiobooks. I would buy books read out loud by you. But I do clearly have a problem, and it's one that I have been aware of for a long time. So what can be done? Well, I've been thinking about it pretty hard for some time, and I considered finding a channel partner, perhaps someone to do the reviews that I'm no longer willing to do, or somebody who could deal with all this stuff I'm turning down. A lot of this I would do it if I had the time, of course I would, but I will always prioritise the kind of videos that you guys want from me. Those heavily researched analysis videos, the history videos. That is what I'm all about, but it doesn't have to be what the whole channel is about. But the kind of person I'd want to get in, wouldn't they already have their own successful channel? Not necessarily. There are plenty of smaller YouTubers out there who just can't seem to get a break for whatever reason. YouTube is saturated and it is really difficult to get noticed these days. My viewers, that's you guys, would be their big break. Of course, any decision like this I would run past my patrons first of all, as they are the real channel sponsors. But what about simply getting video subtitles? Well, let's be honest, how often do you watch YouTube then read the subtitles? But perhaps a smarter option would be to have somebody redo my videos in a more mainstream accent. Cut them down in length a bit, make them more presentable. I have a library of nearly 200 tech videos that are just going to waste. The right person could do a lot with them. I also have a new website, gifted me from a viewer called Adam. It's work in progress, but as you can see, it looks absolutely great and he's done a very good job of it. All of these videos I've got here could be written up as articles. Hell, they could even be written up in different languages. I can't do that though, I don't have the time for it. I also don't want to run a website, I just want to make videos. But the thing here is, I have this brand and I have a highly engaged following. I have got all of these sponsorship offers that I am turning down, thousands of dollars every year, because I just want to make videos. I have this website that could be anything with the right person or the right people involved. Now, how would the income be split and all that? I simply have no idea yet. But hopefully this video has made you realise the value that I put in money, and I certainly wouldn't try to rip anyone off. I suspect my email inbox is about to be pummeled harder than usual with offers, so please bear with me while I figure it all out. But in the meantime, only $1 per month gets you access to my Patreon Discord, where you can hang out with a bunch of like-minded people and actually help mould the future of the channel. So if you've considered it and just never got around to it, now's as good a time as any to go ahead and get it done. I'll catch you later, guys.